Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. A quick warning before we begin. In today's main story, there is a short mention of abuse, so if that makes you uncomfortable, you might want to skip that part or the whole story. Now, let's get started. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user Deleted. Am I the a-hole for trying to convince my girlfriend to move away from her sister? My girlfriend, 30 female, and I, 29 male, back in 2020 decided to move out of state and start living together after over 10 years of friendship and 2 years of dating. We got an apartment with her college roommate, who we were also friends with, and it was a long adventure of learning to live with someone, adjusting, compromising, and understanding how and why someone lives the way they do. Eventually, the college roommate moved out 2 years later, and we loved her to death. We struggled to take care of her 2 cats that she adopted while we took care of our own 2 cats as well. We got to live together as just us two for 8 months, and we were on a steady path of improving both our individual lives and our relationship until my girlfriend thought to invite her sister to live with us. To give context, my girlfriend came from a hellishly strict household with no internet or going out till an adult, high expectations in high school, and so on. She and her sister would endure their drunken dad who'd always put them on edge when he was around, force them to hide in their rooms, and then berate them from outside the door. It was so much that my girlfriend actually ran away and almost started up a new life in a different state until guilt brought her back. And while things were talked out, the issues were never resolved. What's worse was her sister, who'd put some blame on her from time to time whenever her dad targeted her when my girlfriend was not around, forcing more guilt. Moving out was my girlfriend's second chance of trying to be free. So, my girlfriend invited her sister out to live with us cause she also felt like she needed to get out, and out of kindness, my girlfriend offered. We drove to her with a U-Haul, helped pack her things, and then carried everything into our space within a day. Now, a year has passed and it's only been negative. Her sister also has 2 cats, and once again, we had to help take care of them. But compared to our old roommate, her sister expects us to. Don't let her 2 cats enter our room. Don't let our 2 cats enter her room. Stop our cats from being near the door around 3 a.m. Don't let the cats interact, and so on. We had to cage our cats temporarily because when we were both at work, she didn't want to handle any of the cats. Additionally, we decided to fly her long-distance relationship boyfriend here on the agreed idea that being together will have them work together for a better future. Nope, it's been 9 months and he hasn't gotten a job and makes a mess that we have to clean up after that neither will take responsibility for. On top of that, she gets intoxicated and would pass snide comments when something was done wrong. One time, we left a plate soaking in the sink. Even though there was an oil-soaked mess they made near the stove, they both complained about the pan in the sink. She sometimes goes into a drunk spiral that forces my girlfriend to take care of her. We've tried talking, and while they talked it out, nothing gets resolved. My girlfriend just feels on edge when her sister is around and has to hide with the cats in our room. And if something goes wrong, we hear her berate us near our door. Sound familiar? I insisted that we move out to a different apartment space, which would make no difference to our finances other than just losing a bedroom. The issue is, if we move out, her sister has nowhere to go. We did talk about it before, how she would change, but she expects us to change. She says the only things wrong are done by our cats, which we stay up hours to correct, and we invited her out here in the first place, so it would be messed up to leave her like this. I'm not sure what the correct solution is, and I only post here because I'm actually planning to propose and marry into my girlfriend's family, as I've known her for a good 15 years at this point. Are we in the wrong for wanting our peace at the risk of making her sister have no place to stay, or should we force something to work? With our lease finally ending soon, I have been trying to convince my girlfriend to move to a new place, but would leave her sister screwed with no place to go. We can't think of any solutions, and while I don't socialize with her sister much at all, even after my girlfriend and I spoke our minds, nothing really got through. I want us to get out, but then I'm potentially leaving someone homeless. Am I the a-hole? Well, OP, in my opinion, no, you're not the a-hole. You actually got taken advantage of. You wanted to do something nice for her, but she didn't do anything for herself. She decided to become a burden. And on top of that, you guys also brought in the boyfriend, who is another burden. Look, I could feel sympathy for them if they were actually trying to change their fate, like they've got updated resumes and they're out there struggling, trying to get a job, trying to do whatever they can to contribute to you guys, as opposed to being an annoying pain in the ass who, by the way, also verbally abuses your girlfriend and makes you feel uncomfortable in your own home. So no, OP, I don't think you're the a-hole, and I think the way that you should solve this is by letting the lease run out and give them a heads up. You sit them down and you tell them, look, our lease is coming to an end by this date. We're moving out. We're gonna go find an apartment for us two because, we want to start our lives together, and that doesn't include living with you. So you have to go do something about it. We're not gonna help you out. Now go be an adult. And that's it. Then you start looking for your own future place. And what do you guys think about OP's situation? How would you go about it, and what is your judgment? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Stressed Pesitter says, in Spanish we say guests and corpses start to stink after 3 days. Look, I understand wanting to support the sister, but you and your girlfriend have to put your foot down and be clear on the expectations on when the sister has to move out one way or another. That is, depending on her education or work experience, tell her she has X amounts of months to find a job and a place of her own. Don't propose until you're certain you and your girlfriend are in the same page as to how to deal with such a situation. And OP responds, we do plan on telling her sister after the holidays, as our lease ends in 5 months, which we hope is more than enough time for her and her boyfriend to figure things out. I had only wished her boyfriend found a job like he claimed he would. We even got him onto a temp job, but he never showed up, and he still lives here rent-free. Also, for the proposal, thankfully, my girlfriend and I picked the ring out together, and she's fine waiting however long for me to propose, as I insist we have financial and stable mental footing, so we're good on that. Beautiful Story 2811 says, don't just talk, leave. I'm assuming the sister and the boyfriend are adults. Let them figure it out. If they can't, they can both go back to where they came. Your girlfriend did her sister a solid by offering her an escape from her not so great home life. As a thank you, the sister turned into a nightmare and brought her equally nightmarish entitled boyfriend into the mix. You and your girlfriend have done enough. More than enough. Leave. And OP says, I only say talk cause the sister immediately starts crying, so it's more of an attempt at appeasing her to stop the crying than discussing the issues. I guess to give an example, my girlfriend wanted to ask why she didn't want her cats to roam to our room or be near the kitchen when she was totally fine with her cats being in the kitchen and her bedroom when they used to live back at their parents' house. And we never got an answer, just sobbing and talking about how our cat keeps getting on the counter. Hers does too, but I guess ours is an issue. We definitely will set our foot down. Disastrous Panda 5530 says, she's had a year. She should be grateful, but based on this post, she's acting like a demanding entitled brat. No way. Let her know you won't be renewing the lease. She can move back home or get her crap together. If you renew, you won't ever get her out, unless you go the legal route, which is a lengthy process, not to mention the fees you'd have to pay if it goes to court. Move out and don't invite her. Give her notice. That way, if she has nowhere to go, she has no one to blame but herself. Additional information from OP's comments. I have just shown my girlfriend this post and we've been reading the comments together so far. She's both happy and sad with all of them, as some of the things I have already said to her, just in a different way. But she needed convincing that this is the right move. My girlfriend is strong, like so strong. I remember she was involved in a carjacking and it took her months to be vulnerable and cry about it finally, so it hurt to see how often she cried through this whole year. More than I have ever seen my whole time of knowing her. She teared up after I read some of your comments aloud, but in a good way, cause she was scared that she and I would be bad and trying to find peace living alone. As for inviting the boyfriend, 27 male, we had been friends with him for a good several or so years before he got together with my girlfriend's sister. My girlfriend, the sister's boyfriend, and I came to the idea that he would come here, get work, and then all four of us could pitch in and get a big house for all of us to live together. Yeah, we were naive. Honestly, I'd be much more comfortable with us moving out if he had a job, cause he's been here for 9 months, but he hasn't. We plan to enjoy the holidays and visit my family, and then once New Year's passes, we will tell them the news. It gives them 5 months before the lease ends, and then we can also see what her boyfriend decides to do, whether he wants to fly back or stay here and actually work things out. It just sucks, cause we both are anxious about the long 5 months, as her sister's reaction will decide how we live for the remaining time here. Alright, well, the community deemed OP to not be the a-hole and basically gave them the same advice. The sister and the boyfriend are grown-ups, they should be able to carry their own weight. OP just needs to give him notice of what's going to happen, and then he and his girlfriend should just live their life. So now it's time for us to move on to the update. But before that, if you're enjoying this video so far, please don't forget to leave a like or a comment, because that always helps me out. And of course, subscribe if you haven't become a part of our community yet. And now, let's move on with that update. A while ago, I made a post explaining a situation where my girlfriend's sister started living with us and it's been hell. The comments were unanimous in saying we just need to tell them and leave. Most were kind and some called us cowards, but I can't blame them. Well, good news for anyone who saw the original post and for the people just joining in. But we did tell them at the beginning of January. We were extremely anxious about this, but when we talked about it, we felt relief off of our shoulders. Of course, her sister cried about it, saying a lot of things to try to convince us to stay, and we firmly just said we wanted to leave. We did not say it was because of her, we simply said we wanted to be on our own because for the last 5 years of living out on our own, it was never us two, since we had a roommate for the first 3 years and now her sister. She admitted defeat and said she was fine with it, and now we're moving out in May once our lease ends. However, it doesn't come without the weekly comments to guilt us to stay, all from her sister, which we have had answers for each time she tries. I don't want to lose contact or stop talking after this. We always invite you out to eat or explore, play games, watch movies, and bring you guys with us to visit our respective families for the holidays. It's always a no. It doesn't help that every time she does try to talk to us, it ends in her guilting or blaming my girlfriend. It's hard to find a job nowadays. I don't know if my boyfriend can help me with paying for a new space. It's now been 1 year since it's been here. We can say for certain he only applied to one place and gave us no update. I'm sure him saying he doesn't want to work somewhere that pays him below X amount doesn't really help their situation. There's plenty more, but we've been growing thicker skin and are now just looking forward to living just us together. Our lease ends in May and we already have a place that we are prepared to go to. For my girlfriend's sister and her boyfriend, on the other hand, we're not certain. She got a job, but he doesn't have any, nor does it seem like he's made any effort in the past month to look for any. We were urged in my previous post that it was not our problem, and we agreed, so hopefully they will figure that out. Still, over the past month, we have been trying to talk her sister and her boyfriend through how to call and set up the internet, electricity, etc. for the apartment space, since she's scared and not sure how to do it. The entire time, she's passing comments, which she insists she's joking about immediately after saying it. Comments like, we're leaving her broke and borderline homeless. She sent a group chat text saying it in different words literally a few hours ago. But as I said, we're over all of that. So, in short, we told him that my girlfriend and I are moving out 3 weeks before May, which is when we're supposed to be gone. We already talked to the landlord at the office and she said we'd just sign a few papers and we would be off the lease and it'll just be the sister that's left on it. So, I assume we would no longer be responsible. Finally, I just wanted to make this to thank the people on here that encouraged and kicked our asses to take a stand. Opie's edit. Thank you all for the comments. We definitely are more aware of the consequences if sister-in-law doesn't move out, and we'll definitely work on that and ensure everything works out for us in the end. I don't spend every day on Reddit, so I'll stop replying for now. Thanks again! Well, Opie, I'm gonna call this a positive update for you guys. You've told them, you've covered all your bases apparently, and you've got everything set up. So on that note, here's wishing you both the best in the future. Thank you so much for sharing and take care. And now, let's finish this video with a mood booster post. This post is from the subreddit Pro Revenge and it's by user Lucario Stormblade. Try to steal my legally rented parking spot? Enjoy being unemployed. I am a professional driver. As such, on the roads in the US, there are different truck stops throughout the country that have a pay-to-park system. Usually about 10 to 20% of the lot is marked off as reserved, with each space running from $15 to $25. The truck stop where this took place had a parking for $17, which is relatively cheap for a guaranteed spot. The spots are reserved for 24 hours, starting at 4 p.m. local time and extending to 3 p.m. the following afternoon. I knew that I would have a late night delivery, so I came to the truck stop at around 3:30 and paid for a reserved spot. I told the manager on duty that I had a delivery up the road that night and would be back once the delivery was completed, but I should still be able to clear out the spot by the next afternoon, today. She told me that this was okay and that she would mark the spot as sold when I left. That way, if someone else came in trying to reserve that spot, she could consult her notes and deny the sale. 11:15 p.m. rolls around and I take off for my delivery. I don't get out of that facility until 2:30 a.m. the next morning, this morning. So I groggily drive back to the truck stop to reclaim my paid-for spot, only to find that the reserved parking spaces are all full. I call the manager on duty and after giving her my information, I informed her that all of the spots are full and that someone has parked in a spot and hasn't paid for it. So she sends her other employees out to start checking trucks. The culprit was from a company that is known for their bright orange trailers and he was a company driver. The other employee starts banging on his door to inform him that he is parked illegally and he has to move. Meanwhile, I can see the commotion from my mirror with my vantage point in the fuel island where I had been instructed to park temporarily. The driver answers the door with a bottle of Heineken in one hand and some sort of smoking implement in another. I know what it is, but for the sake of the mods, I'm not going to say it. I decided to roll down the window and hear the commotion, and I heard the employee tell the driver to either move or he would get the towing company and police involved. This driver is flat out irate that someone had the audacity to tell him where he can and cannot park. So he slams the door on the employee, threatening him. The employee calls the police and tow company and the police show up first. I had worked for this company before, so I know their policies and more importantly, what they can and cannot have in their trucks. Alcoholic beverages are not allowed in the cab. Anything that isn't a cigarette or a cigar with a lighter is also not allowed. The coup de grace, a pew-pew of any kind, is absolutely not allowed, and especially not allowed loaded. This driver had all of that and some other not-so-legal substances in his cab, so he was hauled away in cuffs. His truck was hauled away on a wrecker. I made a call to the company's safety director after the commotion died down and informed them that their rig would be in an impound lot and their driver was going to jail over the not-so-legal stuff he had in his truck. She thanked me and said that he would definitely lose his job, especially over the alcohol and the other not-so-legal stuff. I guess he played the screw around and find out card and it bit him in his career. Well, OP, you were just doing the good citizen's job. You were holding up the end of your contract, which was that you paid for that spot that this guy didn't, and then you just put him out of the road because driving under the influence like that cannot be a good thing. Hopefully, he learned his lesson. Thanks for sharing, OP.
And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe